keep rolling. Yeah. And then give her the lease option memo as well. Yep. Perfect. Okay. You guys ready for the next one?
Yes.
Deals. Closing, making some money. All right, that's what we're all in here for. Everything leads up to this culmination. Without this, you don't got anything. So the deal isn't done until you've collected the cash. And if you're Eric, the deal isn't done until you've collected the cash and it's like been like a year and a half, and then you can deposit it finally. All right, double closings. We talked a little bit about that, basically. You know, double closing is also called simultaneous closing. It's where you will close A to B transaction with the funds from B to C. We're clear on this? First seller to you to new buyer. It involves three parties: original seller, the investor, the middleman, which is you, and the final buyer. It's not just for wholesale deals. This can be used for seller finance transactions as well. If you're going through a title company and you're like, look, I don't want to pay all these closing fees, set it up so that as you close and pay the title company fees from the previous seller to you, and then you're going to turn around and do a seller financing transaction to somebody else, a true seller financing where they're going to do a wraparound mortgage or a note or something that they're going to be paying for title insurance on. Let them bring the funds to the table and use those funds to close everything out. We all on the same page? Okay.
If you're talking about sub 2, you might want to do a double close as well.
Yes, so I'm going to do a sub 2, but I'm also going to do a wrap to the next person, an all-inclusive trust deed. I'm going to wrap everything into one payment and go through the title company on that one. So that that person who's now on title has title insurance in case they ever want to refinance or sell it in the future. They're protected that way.
But you don't want to pay the fee one time.
Exactly. Well, I don't want to pay anything. I want to have them fund everything.
Yeah, I
Yep.
don't think you get away with one time.
Yeah, you don't. I'll buy a binder. So you're going to do, I'm going to buy an insurance binder. And what a binder does is it allows you to turn around and within 12 months use that same title policy. Because you know your plan is to flip or to turn around and use it. You're going to get a reduction when you use it the second time. You pay the full price the first time. Second time is a reduced rate. At the same title company. True, true, true. So everything, well, it has to be the same title company because you're doing a double close. Yep.
But the year later.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, the binder.
So in this case, you're doing a double close and it's wrapped, so the payment, the amount that goes to you, are they paying you separately and the bank separately on the sub?
It's all one payment.
All one payment?
All one payment.
And where does that payment go?
You can do it one of two ways. You can come to you, or you can go to the title company. They charge like $25. Is that what you found out, Gary? Or who was the one that said they did title company? I think it was.
Double escrow?
No, and escrow payments on a.
It's $25.
Yeah, $25 a month.
And it wouldn't,
Yeah.
you set up
A management fee.
There's an escrow company that I like. I think it's Evergreen, and they're $25 a month and a one-time setup fee, and they will collect your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance.
Yep.
Make sure all those payments are made. Send out all the late notices. Just collect it. Just do the whole thing.
Yep.
So how do you set that up? So I've got a question on mechanics a little bit. So if you're doing a wrap mortgage and that original mortgage has a taxes and interest impounding escrow account already,
Yes.
you're doing the same thing again. How does that work? You paying double on taxes? Do they do a reassessment of the value
No,
of the house
we're
when you
gonna
sell it?
we're gonna. It's a good question. Both those are great questions. We're gonna get to that as you get to the when we sell it to the contract. So write that down because we're gonna get to both of those questions. Not even arrears. It's just who pays. So principal and interest, is it collected twice? And then what was the other question you said you had?
If when you do the transaction to sell, does that do a reassessment on the tax
Yeah,
values?
reassessment of tax values. Yep, we're gonna talk about that as well.
And was it double impound accounts, which it's not.
Yeah. So this is basically if you're gonna do a double close, it's an escrow agreement. The escrow agreement basically is between you, the buyer, you, the seller, and then also the escrow agent. And then you have the property address. You say, therefore, in consideration, mutual promises, blah, blah, blah. Number one, the seller says, the seller and buyer agree that escrow agent shall hold an escrow warranty deed from the seller to buyer until the time which the seller has completed all the terms of the contract. Basically, it says that they're keeping everything until it's been satisfied. Seller and buyer agree that escrow agent shall be permitted to use the funds from the buyer to have those funds be applied to the transaction in which the seller will be acquiring the property. C. Seller and buyer understand that their transaction will occur first even though the seller still needs to complete and fulfill its terms as a buyer on a different transaction involving the same property.
So that's where you're getting around, that one's funding the first.
That's right.
Okay.
We're all on the same page here. In the event the seller's transaction and buyer is not completed, the parties understand that their contemplated transaction may be canceled, and escrow agent shall return the appropriate monies to the respective parties. In the event a dispute arises on the dispute as to the disbursement of the document, escrow agent will disperse the deeds only upon the written direction from the buyer and the seller, which is his standard. In order to receive even escrow money, EMD or earnest money deposit, both have to agree to it in writing in order for the escrow agent to release it. Parties number 2, time is of the essence. An escrow fee of $250 will be charged for considering and holding the document sums. Escrow agent shall not be required to determine any questions of law. The undersigned agree to indemnify and hold escrow agent harmless from any and all claims, liabilities resulting from its actions as escrow agent hereunder, except for gross negligence and willful misconduct. Standard stuff. You can just go forward and read the rest of this. It's just pretty much standard. It just basically says, in essence, that the bold part on C, 1C, is basically we are using the end buyer's money to fund this entire thing. That's it. You all agree to it. You have everyone's contact information, and that's it.
That means buyers paying closing costs.
Buyers paying everybody's closing costs. Their funds is paying for everything. Yes.
So even though you tell your buyers, I'll pay all the closing costs.
Not just closing costs. Not just closing costs. If my transaction, so let's say I'm transacting with IRIC here, and I've agreed to IRIC that I'm going to pay him $30,000 and pay his closing costs, and then I turn around and I sell to you, and you agree to pay me $60,000 for the property and pay my closing costs. All of that money that you pay into it, I'm going to pay IRIC his, and it's going to pay I'm going to pay the closing costs. You're going to pay your own closing costs, but whatever's left over goes to me. I don't pay anything.
But you're not adding closing costs to the agreed upon price.
No.
You're calculating that.
Yeah. Yep. So it's not just closing costs, though. It's like if he wants 30 grand in equity, it's being paid out through your money. Yep. Moving in pieces.
Do you prefer these double closings or
For a wraparound, yes. For a contract for deed, not so much. On a wraparound, I think I told you what happened. On my first wraparound, where the guy did not pay the bank and he was just paying me separately, I had no clue what was going on. I had no idea. And yeah, it was a bad situation. totally bad. Screwed that one up.
Well, you would have been spared that if you'd have done this.
If I would have gone through the escrow company, yeah, for sure, and used the escrow agent or the escrow services to collect monthly, I would have been spared, yeah.
What's the difference between a wraparound and a contract for deed?
Anyone want to help him?
Well,
I don't know if
contract
I'm
for
that
deed is an installment sale.
Yeah.
So, and it can be in a wraparound. I don't know if you can use them both for the same thing. Wraparound is somebody's got a mortgage, and you purchase the property, and let's say there's nobody else involved, just you buy it, and they sell it to you. The mortgage certificate for 50. They sell it the house to you for 100, and you put 20,000 down. So you're going to pay 30 and 50 all in one price, and the taxes and insurance. So you've got a wraparound mortgage there because you're not paying off that first mortgage. You're in a contract.
Yeah. That's,
Does this scare, like, are there escrow agents that are unfamiliar with doing wraps and that look at this weird? Or